This video was sponsored by Anime Express. Use code NOAH10 to receive 10% off on select anime merch. Okay, you can go watch the video now. You know, when we really get down to it, Gojo's unsealing was so unserious, bro. Really had Hana in this outfit while everyone over here hiding under some sandbags. Niggas were really sitting in the chairs over here like they were waiting for the ball to drop on New Year's Eve. But hey, don't let the shenanigans fool you. Gojo's pull up after escaping the prison realm was one of the greatest entrances of all time. Peep game. After Hana uses Jacob's ladder to hit the back of the prison realm, everyone notices that it disappeared. But just before everyone starts wondering if Gojo's gone for good, an earthquake rips through the area and they know something's up. Then we cut over to Kenny. He's over here explaining how he placed the prison realm in the deepest part of the Japan Trench and had layers of cursed spirits guarding the area like Bob the Robber, just in case Gojo made it out. That was even if he escaped in the first place. Usually, if the back of the prison realm is broken, the average entity inside would perish as well. But y'all already know, Gojo's anything but that. All the odds against him, and he still made it out. Came out that box looking fresh as hell too. Nigga was in jail for 19 days and he still managed to keep a fresher lineup than I do. A fade that fresh would have had me posing like Superman too. Damn. And I don't know who this man Kenny was feeling like. Acting like Rachel Nichols in the post-game interview or something. How does it feel to be finally free? Gojo had to put that boy in his place and tell him to choose his words carefully, cause they gonna be his last. And this right here is the face of a man who saw 1,000 years of work nearly go down the drain in an instant. Niggas really be moving different when their lives on the line, bruh. Had his ass turning into Spider-Man just to escape. Should've gotten cooked right here too, but the GOAT himself pulls up to save the day. As they clash, Sukuna reminds him of the promise that he made early in the show, that Gojo would be the first person he killed after he taken over, quote unquote, that brat's body, and in the end, that was Megumi. Bum. He over here talking about some, I will finish you, and I can't even lie, I'm the biggest Sukuna fan, but even I know this was some cap. 15 fingers, and he's in Megumi's body? That nigga's getting a first class ticket straight to Cancun. And Gojo's on timing too. Straight up laughs in this man's face at the thought of it and calls him a bitch for running away from Yuji. Urame pipes up like, how dare you? Just for Gojo to absolutely rock that shit. Type of things that happen when a bench player tries to move like a starter. Really did all that glazing for Sukuna just for him not to even care. Really sidestepped that. And it looks like they about to go at it when Kenny comes over trying to make sure Sukuna's gonna keep that promise that they got going on, whatever that is, and Gojo over here trolling. It was good to see that the prison realm hadn't taken away his sense of humor. After asking what day it was, which was November 19th, he decides to set their fight date for Christmas Eve. Kenny questions him if he's gonna lose, and he's like, nah, I'd win. And thus our story begins. You are not the watcher, my guy. Stop saying that. Fast forward a month and we finally here. As we see Gojo along with Uber Boy make it to the top of the building with Miss Utahime and Grandpa, everyone is locked in. While Utahime starts going crazy. Incantations, hand signs, dances, instruments. Using this ritual, she was able to achieve 120% of her curse technique's normal effect. And Gojo locked in too. Doesn't miss a beat bringing out his technique, recites his incantations, and that 200% output fires that hollow purple. Sukuna, who was over here trying to be nonchalant, doesn't realize how strong the attack is until it's too late. And props to Sukuna, cause no matter the attack or the occasion, he's still gonna come out that bitch raw as hell. Managed to have more aura than Gojo in this panel, even though his ass was the one who got snugged. After Sukuna pops out, Gojo says some, hey, you better not get the wrong idea, cause you're the challenger here. Nerdy ass. And Sukuna's over here confused, cause he's pretty hyped for someone who just used a sneak attack, which is valid, not gonna lie. And one thing about Sukuna, if he's gonna roast you, he's gonna do that shit elegantly. Calls this man a nameless fish, a bit fresher than the others, but still nameless, and he's ready to peel those scales. But Gojo's more concerned on why he's still using Megumi's face. Sukuna probably thought that he would hold back if he had it on, but Gojo's already had enough experience beating Megumi's ass, so he's gonna go all out. And I know this ain't even about Megumi, but having your worst enemy steal your body to fight your stepdad while he's wearing your biological dad's fit is nasty work. Like, this ain't even me being a hater right now. It's just like, damn nigga, you really just trash. But anyway, let's move on. Also, it's a damn shame that Gojo ended up taking off this fit because it was so tough, but whatever. Then they start boxing, throwing straight hands, and as Sukuna goes in for a right, Gojo goes down low, gives him a 2-finger salute saying sayonara, and puts him up against a window. And all Sukuna can do is be amazed, saying some, oh me, oh my, as he gets boomed through the entire function. He gets up happy as hell, just to get his shit rocked again, and Gojo starts going ham, starts stomping on the ground like Godzilla, drops Sukuna off, and then sends him up and over into a building. But Sukuna not getting cooked like that though. He bounces off, pops up and hits a dismantle off a fadeaway, doing his best Westbrook impersonation and completely airballing what hit in the building in the back. And Gojo was as confused as I was when I first saw this. Had to hit a double take to make sure he wasn't seeing things. But as Sukuna comes in, feeling himself with that no look right hook, the building he slashed comes down on top of them. Sukuna throws up a door and gets ready to attack, and Gojo does the same. And as they send their attacks, we see the building collapse, with these two coming out the dust tough as hell. But Gojo says he's gonna blame this on Sukuna. And Sukuna's like, I know you not talking. You think they best friends or something with the way they interact. And you know the fight is gonna be fire when they doing shit like this in the pre-game warm-ups. And they waste no time starting round 1. Starting off with this dual domain expansion. And Gege was really in his bag in this page right here, bro. One of my favorite panels in JJK. Narrator starts saying how they are evenly matched as the two sure hit guarantees overlap and cancel each other out. And whoever's domain collapses first will be in serious trouble. The domains were evenly matched, at least in the barrier they were. But y'all know from Shibuya, Sukuna's domain range deeper than a Curry 3. And since his domain stretches out further than Gojo's barrier, along with the fact that the barrier of a domain is weaker on the outside, he was able to break it. And if I was Gojo, I'd be mad as hell right now. Cause how did nobody tell him that Sukuna could use an open domain? The sources really just threw him out there like them baby swim training videos, bruh. Gave him no help. Sukuna gives that boy Gojo a devious grin, and we see that first slash hit his neck. First time in years this man probably been hit like this. And this panel right here really had them Twitter warriors turning into licensed PhDs, trying to figure out if Gojo was okay, just for him to heal up with RCT in the next chapter. But since his domain collapsed, he can no longer use his technique to protect himself or escape the range of Sukuna's domain. So he's cooked, and with a devious smile on his face, Sukuna starts beating that ass. And he was enjoying watching this for real, bro. Zoom in and you can see him laughing on top of his shrine like a madman. And Gojo crazy too. Dude really ate this shit while saying his curse technique was better. And he was smiling on top of that too. That man's a demon. After that onslaught, he hits the dash. Sukuna comes in with a Hall of Fame chase down, not letting him get away. He kicks him, and Gojo responds in with a knee. But Sukuna counters that by wrapping his legs around Gojo, and Gojo counters that by attempting to bash his head into the ground. They're really going counter for counter. They hop back up, and Gojo decides to pull out new shadow style. But something like that will only buy him a little time against a domain like Sukuna's. Sukuna steps into the ring, whiffs on a punch, but gets his get back when Gojo's simple domain collapses, and he just pops another one. Got Sukuna bored already, and everyone's like, damn, no technique, no RCT. Is Gojo gonna lose? Just for him to pull up on Sukuna, cock back, and hit him with a point blank reversal red. This man really replenished his burnt out curse technique with RCT. Y'all know how crazy that is, bruh? This man Gojo really was a generational talent. And I love that no matter how many times these dudes get beat up, they fits always stay clean. This nigga Gojo was getting cooked by that malevolent shrine, and them all white pants don't even got a scratch. That's crazy. He over here wondering if Sukuna can expand his domain's range, and Sukuna's like, hey, bet. Got Kusakabe over here stressed out. Gojo pops his domain once more, but this time switching the internal and external conditions of the barrier, making it easier for him to defend against outside attacks. Gojo says let's take this from the top, and they start throwing hands. And Gojo notices that this man Sukuna can use domain expansion and amplification at the same time. This nigga different. And Gojo hits the damn. That's crazy. I don't really care. Weaves and gives him a nasty gut punch that got him clenching his teeth. But as Sukuna turns around and grabs him from behind, Gojo notices something. Sukuna's domain sure hit effect has been turned off. Normally, this would mean that he would have been cooked, since Gojo's infinite void would have hit him. But thanks to prior experience, he knew that by touching Gojo, unlimited void wouldn't affect him. Oh, so Sukuna can use intel about Gojo's domain, but Gojo can't. Alright, bro. And by using a binding vow, he increased the power of his domain outside Gojo's domain by removing his sure hit effect inside his domain, while keeping himself safe from infinite void while touching Gojo. Damn, that was a lot. And once again, Gojo's domain collapses. Sukuna smug as hell now, talking about some what you say about taking it from the top, while holding the follow through as Gojo goes flying. Nigga's aura over here was unmatched, but he notices that Gojo's wounds aren't as deep as last time, thanks to him using Falling Blossom Emotion, that one technique from the 3 great families. And he wastes no time popping his domain once more, but this time he makes it hella small. Normally, a feat like this would have been straight up impossible, since envisioning a barrier too small to hold yourself would just make it collapse. But due to his time in the prison realm, Gojo was able to figure this out. Sukuna also increased his domain's range, so he can increase the output of his CT. As Gojo's domain begins to start collapsing, everyone realizes that if he doesn't hold out right here, then he might be cooked. Then it shatters, and we see Sukuna's shrine begin to collapse. And it turns out that while Sukuna destroyed Gojo's domain from the outside, Gojo beat his ass on the inside to the point where he couldn't maintain his domain, and now they can't use their curse techniques. Normally, this would be good for Gojo, cause he can heal his burnt out CT with RCT. But since Gojo made the mistake of showing that to Sukuna, he can probably do that as well, meaning that it's still tie game. Then they start going at it again. Sukuna going on top of the bridge while Gojo goes on the bottom, playing reverse whack-a-mole. Sukuna makes it up to the railing as Gojo pops up, sees him, and makes a U-turn ecstatic as hell. While Gojo comes in, fakes the right hook, and goes in for the backhand. Gojo starts wondering why Sukuna hasn't used any other technique besides the one imbued to his domain. Even when he switched the internal and external conditions of the barrier, he didn't try to destroy the barrier from the inside, but the outside, fighting with only domain amplification against Gojo's limitless, giving him a huge advantage. For the past 3 minutes, Gojo has had the upper hand, but Sukuna still has yet to use the 10 shadows technique. As he thinks this, he sees Maharaga's wheel turn in the darkness, while Gojo bleeds from the inside, but he ignores this, and he and Sukuna pop another domain. They get in once again and start boxing. Gojo hitting Sukuna with a barrage as he tries to go in for the Kyoto combo, but Sukuna attempts to counter, trying to stomp on bro, so he's like, alright then, sends him into his own shrine, brings him back, and goes in for the one hand slam, breaking their domains at the same time. Then Gojo comes in with the left, sending Sukuna flying, and then he pops another domain. But Yuta notices that Gojo might have expanded his domain an instant earlier, and he was right. Since Sukuna had to heal his body, he was late in restoring his curse technique, and this led him to take unlimited void for less than 1/100th of a second. That's crazy. And 2 minutes and 40 seconds later, Sukuna's domain collapses. And it looks like Gojo's about to get the dub right here as he goes in for the kill, and then we see Maharaga pull up. Gojo's over here confused on how he was able to do this, but either way, Maho hasn't had time to adapt, so he goes in for the one shot, but it's already too late. As Maho takes the stab at the domain, he breaks it, as he's already adapted. And like I said earlier, it don't matter the attack or the occasion, Sukuna always gonna pop out tough as hell. Nigga over here standing tough as hell for the cameras like he wasn't just about to get cooked. He thinks he's slick. Then the narrator starts explaining on how Sukuna managed to pull this off. Sukuna and Gojo expanded their domains 5 times, in which Gojo's sure hit effect targeted everything within the domain, while Sukuna's sure hit effect targets everything but himself, meaning that Gojo's sure hit effect was still attacking Sukuna. He took on Unlimited Void 5 times, while carrying the burden of Maho's adaptation, but the one who really took the burden was Mega Beat. As Maho heads back inside, Sukuna's over here asking Gojo what's wrong, but Gojo's just happy to see him so desperate, and he's like, look who's talking. Sukuna says that he knew Unlimited Void was gonna be a pain, so he decided to take that card out the deck early, by using Megami to adapt to Unlimited Void, using his own technique. Thanks to this, he wasn't able to use any technique other than what was imbued to his domain, but that paid off in his own way. But Gojo says that since he hasn't adapted Megami's soul itself to Unlimited Void, he can just open his domain again, and Maho won't be able to bail him out. And confident as hell, he puts up that hand sign and gets ready to cook. But we should have known something was up when Sukuna's over here, hands crossed, laughing that broken ass laugh of his. He says that Gojo can't use his domain no more, and we see Gojo start to leak. Sukuna starts saying that Gojo has been straining his brain by using the RCT to heal his burnt out technique, and doing something like that once was already risky enough. And if you think this looks bad, if you see the extra page Gege showed of his brain during this part of the fight, it looks even worse. To heal his curse technique, Gojo was using cursed energy to damage his own brain, and then using RCT to heal his technique, which is hella risky, and I don't even know what's more amazing. The fact that Gojo is still walking and talking after all that, or the fact that this nigga Yuji needs 5 fingers to count up to 5. I know that nigga was in the 2 teacher classrooms, bro, cause there ain't no way. While Gojo falls to his knees, Sukuna says that Gojo has reached his limit, and it's time to call game. And damn, this right here would have been the greatest game winner of all time. Didn't guard up on him when he took the shot to open his domain, while putting this man on his knees in front of millions of viewers live, and telling the nigga that the only reason why he was hailed as the strongest because I wasn't there. Damn, I know all the niggas who had Sukuna winning round 1 on their parlay were geeking at this time. And this here is where Maguna really peaked, cause after this moment right here, it all went downhill. He attempts to pop his domain, but that shit collapses on sight, and we see him start bleeding from his eyes. And I know he was pissed off after this shit, bro. Dropped the hardest line in his entire career just for his shrine to malfunction. I can't even lie, I shed a tear while rereading this, bro. Man's really thought he won. And Gojo's over here loving this, out here cackling. He says that his students are watching, while proceeding to show 5 people that he hasn't even taught on screen. And he says he's gonna keep showing off. Then with a grin, he comes in with a devious right hook, officially starting round 2. Before they start going at it again, Kusakabe questions the group if they've ever been seriously punched by Gojo. Seriously punched, meaning taking a blow from the limitless technique. Yuta and Akari both raise their hands, Akari saying it's like getting hit with a block breaker after preparing for regular attack, and saying that it made him and Yuta both throw up. Kusakabe says that the point he's trying to make right here is that Gojo's on a whole nother level, and that from here on out, he doesn't know what the hell Gojo's doing, so they should stop asking. Then we cut back to the fight, as Gojo straight up violates this man Sukuna, dragging him on straight concrete, throwing him around the page like they're playing Ring Around the Rosie. Then as he throws Sukuna away, he doesn't let up, using the rubble to imprison Sukuna, and then he hops out trying to take off his head with a kick. And Sukuna over here smiling, thinking that he was Weave Nation certified, when the blue Gojo left up in the air kicks in, setting him up for the oop. But crafty as always, Sukuna uses amplification, letting him hit this sick somersault and letting him come down for a kill shot of his own. But y'all know Gojo's not getting cooked like that. He reaches into Killua's bag and pulls out the rhythm walk, and he tries to get one over on Sukuna, but he ain't falling for that shit. He laughs right in his face and sends him up and over. Gojo's out here talking about some whoopsie, unserious ass. As Gojo makes it up on the traffic light, Maharaga's wheel starts turning, signaling the start of the adaptation. Gojo, seeing this, speculates that when Sukuna uses amplification, the wheel turns black, which most likely interrupts the adaptation process, meaning that Sukuna can't pop his domain, but can use amplification since Gojo's limitless didn't affect the area of his brain that was in charge of barrier techniques. Meanwhile, Sukuna realizes that to avoid the adaptation, Gojo isn't using anything besides blue, which was expected. As the light turns green, Gojo slides down, making Sukuna look goofy, and tries to use a traffic light to hit him from the back. Pause. But Sukuna is on that, sending it right back, letting Gojo stopping it. Then they take a little break. And looking back on this was hella crazy, considering Gojo was operating on a time limit. But considering what's about to happen, he had every right to be this confident. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so hold on. Gojo tells Sukuna that he needs 4 spins total, and since the wheel already spun once, that means he needs 3 more. 3 more spins until Maho adapts to his infinity. Sukuna over here talking about how they now have a countdown until Gojo's smile gets wiped off his face. And this goofy over here smiling, talking about right back at ya, saying he's gonna beat his ass dead before the 3 spins commence. Sukuna over here with the devious stare down. I didn't even peep how clean that nigga hairline really is. Change that boy Megami's lineup for the better. Speaking of which, Hano's over here wondering if Gojo's already forgotten about Megami. And Kashima over here speaking the truth. Let him go, bruh. Then Gojo starts cooking. As they fly through the air, Maho's wheel takes another spin, leaving 2 more to go, which got my boy Yuji and Kusakabe stressing. But Gojo over here with the grin should have let them know that they were fine. As Sukuna tries to escape, Gojo sends off 2 blues in his direction, making Sukuna get on his Gabby Douglas shit and flip away. Then when he lands on another platform, Gojo nearly obliterates this man with all them blues, but Sukuna manages to escape again. And when Gojo pulls out from behind, he tries to go on the offensive, striking back with the kick, but Gojo catches that shit and tells him to hit the weight room while sending him back. But Sukuna is not concerned. As the wheel hits its 3rd spin, he only needs 1 more to secure the adaptation. They drop into the building, and now Gojo plans on giving him hell. He's convinced Sukuna that all he's gonna use is blue, which means this is the perfect time for him to use his reversal red. And as Sukuna makes it around the pillar, he fires it at point blank range. But Sukuna, smart as ever, saw through this and was able to use amplification to minimize the damage. And while amplification can be used to neutralize the low output of his regular limitless, it can't fully do that against a strengthened version of blue or reversal red. And now he's feeling himself. Nigga was out here posing up, back turned, acting like he secured the dope. He didn't even notice that Gojo was moving the rubble that set his ass up. That's crazy. And as he starts yapping about how sloppy Gojo was being, saying that he lost his cool after his hand was red, Gojo hits him with a big kicker, saying that his red still hasn't exploded. And on cue, it comes in to pound him from the back. And this panel right here is so crazy out of context. God, from behind? It's hella crazy from the King of Curses himself to be saying. He realizes that Gojo had planned all of this from the start, having the red strike after making a full lap around the building. But it's too late as Gojo locks in and pulls up, blacking this nigga in his chest. Yuta had the same reaction as me when I first saw this, cause golly, managed to knock every light in his house. Had his ass slumped and drooling like a baby while he was still standing. Gojo tough as hell too. You know it's serious when you out here creasing your new joints to knock a man out. Held the follow through too, like harding off a step back 3. That shit was so tough. Hit that nigga so hard it knocked the wheel off his head. Maho had to take that shit back cause ain't no way he could let that disrespect slide. But unlucky for Gojo, the 4th spin kicks in. And Maharaga pulls up from the shadows on his Toji shit, getting a clean hit on Gojo. Yuji's over here saying that he's not finished yet, but Shoku's over here not believing it. Why did she say this, man? Out here dropping the mood for no reason. A lot of people saw this as Shoku not caring about Gojo, but if you take a look at the floor, that tells you everything you need to know about that. Narrator starts getting in his bag, saying that even with the strongest in history, the King of Curses as his opponent, all thought the idea to be impossible. But at this very moment, that thought of Gojo losing flooded their minds. And that same thought hit Gojo himself, asking himself how long has it been, then smiling when it hits him. And y'all know Gojo ain't going out like that. As Mao pulls up, he hits him with his devious 2-piece, runs up on him and blows him away with the blue. Got Maho over here salivated. Then he starts reciting his incantations to boost his decreased output and gets ready to fire off a reversal red. Sukuna pulls up from the shadows with a rapid escape. Gojo hit this man so hard that he's resorting to hit and run tactics in a one-on-one. That is wild. Gojo asks him how long he's gonna rest for and fires off a red. Then they all pull up to the hallway and Gojo notes that since Maho has adapted, it's on offense. And to make sure that he doesn't get destroyed, Sukuna's on protection duty, giving Mahoraga openings to attack. And this shit right here, man, oh my god. You know how badly you have to get cooked to resort to a fire extinguisher as a weapon? I do not give a damn that this was a distraction. This shit is sad. At least his hairline clean though. As Maho pulls up from the top, Sukuna readies up that piercing blood stance. Choso saying something, it can't be. And since Maho is touching Gojo, his infinity is turned off, giving Sukuna a clean shot. And as Gojo dodges another one of Maho's attacks, he starts thinking this is a 2-on-1. Until this man Sukuna says something, don't misunderstand. This isn't a 2-on-1. It's a 3-on-1. Lame ass nigga. He thought that shit was so tough too, man. Nah. Dude over here posing up as well. Like, put your hands down, bruh. Gojo really called this man a little lost alien boy. And he right too. But Sukuna still had to give that man the look when a nigga lying when you listening anyway. Now Gojo's on the defensive. As Maho tries to slash him, Sukuna comes in from behind. But Gojo, weak game always on 100, dodges and comes in trying to end this man. That fist went deep as hell into the ground. He wants this man gone. Then he proceeds to weed the fuck out of Mahoraga and Agito at the same time. Then he drops back and tries to hit a reversal red off a fadeaway, but Maho eats that. Seeing this, Gojo realizes that Mahoraga is adapting incrementally, meaning that the only way he's gonna beat Maho and Sukuna is with his unlimited hollow technique, and with a smile, he gets ready to start cooking. What we're about to see right here is what we folks like to call a generational run. 2018 Braun, World Cup Mbappe, 2007 Patriots. Gojo from 234 to 235 is up there with them, and y'all about to see why. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, these niggas are over here arguing or something cause Yuta wants the third party or whatever. And Kashimo, lucky as hell, Yuta's always on his J. Cole shit, always being humble. Cause if it came down to it, that boy Yuta is mopping the floor with this man. He came pretty damn close to it too. Staring down someone with your peripheral vision is absolutely crazy. It looks like they're about to go at it when Kusakabe tells all of them to pipe down. And just wait because it's the logical thing to do. But Kashimo says they're all missing the point. The fact is this is Gojo's fight, and jumping in just wouldn't be right. Then we see Gojo, Agito, and Maho pop out, and Gojo starts going straight bonkers. Makes Maho eat dirt, while simultaneously weaving Agito and coming in with a black flash. Number 2, Agito's able to heal, but Gojo pulls up from behind, yanks off her tail, and throws her away. Gojo realizes that Nue has inherited the powers of the Great Serpent, Warning Tiger, and Tranquil Deer, with the deer being the core of its abilities, and he plans to take it out in one shot along with Mahoraga. Then Mahoraga tries to come in with the slash, but that shit don't work. So he tries again, and Gojo comes in with this insane 360 kick off the reverse. Hey, he probably Mahoraga caught that shit too. He low-key told. Agito tries to come in like it's about to do something, but Gojo just embraces her and bops her shit, calling them a one-trick pony. Meanwhile, Sukuna, who by the way is still camping, is yapping about how this is going well, since he's trying to make sure that Gojo can't fire off purple. He starts telling Mahoraga that this ain't what he wants to see, and that he's more of Sukuna's shadow now than that bums, right? Lock the fuck in! And on cue, Mahoraga comes in with the world-cutting slash, taking Gojo's right arm clean off. And we didn't know it, but at this point, it was basically over right here. Game. And everyone's over here stressed. While Gojo falls back, that filthy camper Sukuna pops up from the shadows trying to get his lick back. Could never catch Gojo this happy to sneak a free hit on a disabled man. And Agito over here, thinking that she a part of the team, tries to come in with a hit of her own. But Gojo stops that shit and says, "You not like that, little bro." Then he absolutely bodies the hell out of that wannabe, and as Sukuna hides behind his father, sends her up to heaven. And in another 41 seconds, Gojo's hollow purple will grace the battlefield of Shinjuku once more. And now Gojo feeling himself. With that second black flash that he hit on Agito, he regained his RCT output and was able to fully heal his arm. And as he's over here feeling himself while staring Sukuna down, the latter is over here feeling stressed for the first time in 1,000 years. And now Gojo's on the offensive. In the 2-on-1, his clutch performer badge working overtime. Blacks Mahoraga, bodying him away from Sukuna and letting him call ISO. Look at his face. With the way he's been getting bodied in this fight, I wouldn't want to run the ones with Gojo either. And this right here was damn near a kill shot. He slides through Sukuna's punch, grabs him, and nearly hits a LeBron James off the backboard one-hand jam with a black flash too. Luckily for him though, Paparaga saved the day. Then Gojo starts reciting his incantations. Based on the amount of cursed energy in the incantation, Sukuna thought that what was about to come was a reversal red, and he was by no means incorrect, as he plans on letting Mahoraga take the hit so he can adapt to it for good. Gojo sends it up into the air, and Sukuna, realizing what he's about to do, starts screaming for his daddy to save the day, and he takes off. Instead of running to block the red, Mahoraga instead rushed to the blue. Since he already adapted to it, he could just slash it and prevent it from connecting with the reversal red. But Gojo, using the attractive force of blue, was able to barge his way in between it and Mahoraga. Blue chooses its targets indiscriminately, and since Mahoraga had already adapted to it, its attraction did not affect him, making his adaptation backfire as Gojo uppercuts Mahoraga. Sukuna, nervous as hell, pulls up from the shadows trying to spur the explosion. Gojo bops him as soon as he sends it off, but it appears that it's too late. Sukuna talking about some, "You're too slow," and Gojo takes one look at him and says, "Aight nigga, watch this." Recites the incantations at record speed, boosting Blue's range to absorb the piercing blood, and now Sukuna knows it's up. As Gojo finishes off his incantations, Yuta gives Kusakabe that "I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game" treatment, and he comes down with the hollow purple. And to say that this attack fucked Sukuna up would be an understatement. Attack was so damn powerful that he eviscerated Mahoraga and knocked the chonkless clean off the nigga feet. And somehow, once again, that boy Gojo's fit stays clean. At least as clean as you can be for surviving a nuke. And yeah, that's it. That's game. Gojo beat Sukuna. Then Jujutsu World lived happily ever after. You know how when you're in a video game fighting a boss, you're over here beating their ass and giving them combos that would put even Wendy's to shame, and then all of a sudden you enter a cutscene and you know it's over? That's basically what happened with Gojo here. Look at Gato's happy ass too. Imagine you get a first class ticket to the pearly gates and your dead homeboy, who you killed for roleplaying as a clan member, is the first person you meet. I'd be mad too. Gojo tells Gato that he hopes this is all a dream, and then complains about not telling Megumi about his father, until he remembers that he told Shogo to handle it. When Gato questions Gojo how fighting Sukuna was, he says he was insanely strong, and he wasn't even going all out. Even going as far as saying that he might have still lost even if Sukuna didn't have the 10 shadows. A lot of people somehow saw this as Gojo saying Sukuna was not trying, and y'all just saw that was not true. But what is true is that Sukuna wasn't able to use his full bag against Gojo. And it makes sense. Why would he even try if he couldn't even hit Gojo in the first place? Gojo goes on to say that he feels kinda bad for Sukuna. He's no stranger to being isolated. There has always been a gulf between him and everyone else, no matter how much they adored him. Saying that you can admire a blooming flower, you can't ask it to understand you. He did everything he could to try to reach Sukuna, to make him understand. His years of training, all his mastered techniques, his explosiveness, quick thinking, and attempts at humor, he gave it his all, but it still wasn't quite enough. But even so, he still had fun. Although he does think it's a shame that Sukuna couldn't give it his all, he's glad that he didn't go out like a bum, but instead to a stronger opponent. This is where Nanami and Haibara decide to make their appearance and make fun of him for acting like a samurai. Nanami starts saying that he always wondered why they couldn't just leave everything to Gojo, because in his eyes, Gojo was only a sorcerer for self-satisfaction. Haibara joyful self doubling down on it too. And judging from Gojo's reaction, I don't doubt that Nanami was fully wrong, but at the same time, Gojo's actions have most definitely proved otherwise. Nanami ends off saying that it was a fitting way for Gojo to go out. And in turn, Gojo asks Nanami how he felt about his demise. Nanami responds by saying something Mei once told him. The first and last good thing she has ever said. If you would like to be someone new, go north. If you would like to return to who you once were, go south. Since Nanami has always had an attachment to the past, he did not hesitate to go south. Although he finds this kinda ironic, considering that he ended up betting his life on the future. And Gojo's like, I see. And then turns to Principal Yaga, who's there too, teasing him about saying that he thought sorcerers die with no regrets. And as everyone's over here laughing and smiling, he now hopes that this isn't a dream. And before we go on, who invited this nigga, bruh? He trying to act nonchalant too, as if God's gonna notice his ass ain't supposed to be here and kick him out. And this panel right here, man, if I was a sorcerer, I wouldn't even have the will to keep fighting after this. The strongest man you know, chopped up like this, man. I'm glad I'm out of Gojo's den, or else I would have been sick seeing this, bro. Sukuna starts explaining how Mahoraga adapts. Maho's adaptation starts after a single attack, and from there on, its completion is only a matter of time. And if it receives an identical attack during that time period, the adaptation will accelerate. But once Maho adapts to a technique, it doesn't stop there. It continues to adapt further. Sukuna wanted a model from Mahoraga, a blueprint on how to tear through Gojo's infinity. At first, Mahoraga was just altering the essence of his cursed energy, which helped neutralize Gojo's infinity. Sukuna can't do that though, so he waited for another solution. And that second adaptation, the one where he sliced Gojo's arm clean off, was exactly what he needed. What Maho did there wasn't sending flying slashes like Sukuna does, but expanding the technique's target. A slash that's intended target was meant for the entire world, space, existence itself, not just Gojo. Kinda like a Russell Westbrook 3-pointer, you know? Shit hits everything before going into the basket. As long as Gojo's infinity existed in that space, it meant nothing. A technique that was damn near impossible to pull off. but Sukuna was able to come through. Also, looking at everyone's reactions after the recent chapters, especially Yuta's, really puts it into a different perspective. Knowing that you're about to desecrate your master's body after his death is a feeling I never want or will have to experience. Sukuna ends off saying that Gojo did well, and that he will never forget him as long as he lives. And as far as compliments go, especially from Sukuna himself, that's probably the highest you can go. One from calling Gojo a nameless fish to saying that he would never forget him. How sweet. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this No SXZ production. Shout out to Joseph for editing, and most importantly, shout out to Megumi. Sukuna would have never been able to pull this off if his dumbass didn't let his bag get stolen. Hip hip hooray, my nigga. You have doomed us all. Thank you for watching. Before we end it off, this video was sponsored by Anime Express. Anime Express has a variety of merchandise from all your favorite animes, such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Naruto, Demon Slayer, One Piece, and others. They got a variety of stuff and cool things, such as hoodies, t-shirts, necklaces, and this dope ass sword over here. Personally, my favorite is the Choso hoodie, cause as much as I be hating on bro, this shirt is tough as hell. And if you want 10% off, use my code NOAH10 at checkout. Link in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching.